I saw it.
So what?
You know what I'm talking about.
That hiker? The face of the wolf?
You're listening to Fun with Horror with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Scotty.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to Fun with Horror, the most wholesome podcast in the entire world. This is the podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch by taking turns giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss.
It was my pick last time, and I chose 2025's Wolfman. But of course, stay tuned to the end of this episode where we get to hear what my best friend in the whole wide world, Scotty, picks for our next movie. Until then, though, hi, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
How are you?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm fine. Been busy.
Good? Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Good. I've been sick, so maybe
Yeah.
people can hear the nasal, congestion side of me right now, but
You had
there
the
you
bird
go.
flu, measles, COVID, everything?
I had it all. They said I am lucky to be alive, but they said...
Wait, people are going to actually believe that.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, I just it was just normal flu, cold, whatever, sick. Nothing crazy. I'm better now. Sorry.
I thought you were about to say that, like, you almost turned into a zombie, but not quite.
Oh no. I felt like it.
Oh, buddy.
I know. But I'm good now.
Good.
Yeah.
What do you got? I got nothing
know.
to talk about. Like, it's been
Not much.
The world has been very peaceful and quiet the last 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, something like that. Oy vey.
But one thing happened. One cool trailer came out, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah, dude, and I'm excited. This is one that I watched the entire trailer of because I had read the book, and so had you, and that's Clown in a Cornfield, man. We finally got the trailer.
I know. That was really cool, and it was exciting. For me, I don't know about you, but for me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally watch trailers, but since I had read the book, I'm like,
Mhm.
it's not going to spoil too much.
Right.
So I watched about most of the trailer,
Mhm.
and it was almost exactly as I pictured it in my head while I was reading the book.
Yep, I agree. Without even spoiling the trailer, there's a moment where you see the cornfield and someone pop up, and I was like, oh boy, I'm excited. Because that
Yeah.
is right where that book, if to me, I was like, it shot off, man, and I could not put it down. So that was a cool moment in the trailer. I turned to my wife and I was like, that's the part where I could not put it down.
Nice.
So I'm excited, dude. I'm so excited for that movie.
I think the only thing that, for me, was a little bit different was the clown mask, but I love the clown mask in the trailer.
Me too. It was a lot different than what I had pictured in the book, but I love clowns, so I am absolutely a fan of this design. I think it looks great. And this is probably, even I told my wife, I told Cindy, this is probably going to have to be a theater movie. Like, I'm very excited for this, so I'm going to have to, my siblings, I got both my siblings into these books as well, but I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and everybody out there listening to this, the book is called Clown in a Cornfield. The author is Adam Caesar. It is spelled Cesare,
Mm-hmm.
so it looks like Caesar, but it's
Right.
Caesar. And he's written 3 books, Clown in a Cornfield, the whole trilogy, so we recommend all 3. So go read those.
And if you write, he's one of those guys where if you write him just to say hi or that you like it, he usually writes you back. I've talked with him a couple times, and he's super nice guy, really, really nice. So
I don't think he's that nice.
Oh shoot, okay,
Yeah, he kind of berated me and said that I look funny.
stop. For a second, I was really worried. I was like, oh no,
Oh no.
oh no.
And that brings up something else I wanted to mention, and I should have mentioned this last week, but I totally forgot.
Mhm.
I just read a really crazy book.
Oh, yeah. We kind of briefly touched on this. Yeah, lay it on me, man.
I think we touched on it off of the podcast.
Yes, sorry.
Just
you and
and
I.
me.
Yes.
But I just finished a book, and it's called Whale Fall.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, people. It is about a guy who goes diving and gets swallowed by a whale. That's all I'm going to say. It is a crazy book. And the thing we forgot to mention last week is that as far as the most recent news about this goes, the film adaptation of that movie is being directed by Brian Duffield, who directed No One Will Save You, which we talked about in our last episode.
That's awesome.
Dude, I am so excited for that.
And what you told me, I feel like, and I haven't read it, and of course, Scotty you didn't spoil anything, but,
I didn't spoil anything.
No, of course not. But what you did tell me about it, I was like, and just having had, just watched No One Will Save You, I was like, sounds like the perfect person to direct this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. There's some aspects of the book that I don't know how he's going to do. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope that keeps getting made. Otherwise, I don't really have much else. I've seen a couple of movies that I'll mention here just real quick.
Sure, yeah.
I rewatched The Menu, which we talked about in an old episode, and that movie is still near perfect.
Yeah, I was just about to say something, but that might be a spoiler, so never mind. But I love that movie.
Yeah, no spoilers.
There's a certain food I always want to eat after watching that movie. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch the movie and then go listen to our episode. The other movie I recently watched or rewatched, have you watched Trap yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You have? You've seen it. Okay, that's right. I keep forgetting that you've seen it. Anyway.
Yep.
I went ahead and rewatched it actually this past week, and
yeah,
it was cool because this time there wasn't an earthquake with 30 minutes to go in the movie.
That's right.
And it was cool. I actually did miss some dialogue because I was distracted in the theater by an earthquake. So,
oh man,
I still give it the same rating.
Okay,
I still liked it pretty much just as much. The only thing I'm going to say, and this doesn't spoil anything, is that I almost guarantee that maybe Shyamalan's even said this, that it's in the Unbreakable universe.
Ooh, well, that makes me happy.
Don't let it make you happy. It's just a theory. I see his character in Trap as somebody who would exist in that universe.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more after the podcast because I agree with you. But there's I agree. I love that.
And that's it. Otherwise, I just have some lunch and I'm gonna go and wolf it down real quick, man.
People get taken from you like that. It's not hard to die. It's the easiest thing in the world.
Wolfman was directed by Leigh Whannell and written by Leigh Whannell and Corbett Tuck, and it stars Christopher Abbott as Blake, Julia Garner as Charlotte, Matilda Firth as Ginger, Sam Jaeger as Grady, and Benedict Hardie as Derek.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Wow. Andrew.
Yeah, buddy.
You picked this movie last.
I did. Yeah.
This was your first time seeing it. How did you watch it? Where did you watch it? What did you do? Were you by yourself? Were you in the dark?
All of the above. No, I watched it. I did watch it by myself. It wasn't dark. I think my wife and son were out, so it was during like the late afternoon, but it was nice. I was just home by myself and watched it. Yeah, so it was good.
What did you think of it, Andrew?
This was one I can truly say I had different expectations going in or thoughts of what it would be, and I was way off. Way off.
Real quick, this is without spoilers. We should say that, but we always forget. But yeah.
Right.
We're talking about what we thought of the movie without spoilers. Continue,
Yes.
please.
Yes. That being said, I really liked this movie.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you? What'd you think?
Well, this was my second time seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this in theaters on opening weekend, and I love this movie. I was prepared for having my expectations not met,
Sure.
but I wasn't sure because I hadn't watched trailers or anything or heard what anyone really thought of the movie. I wasn't sure how much my expectations were going to be subverted.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I went in with an open mind. I walked out of my first viewing really enjoying it. And then when I saw it again, I loved it even more because I got into more of the emotional character story
Mm-hmm.
that's inside the movie, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's a fantastic movie. And as our first 2025 movie discussed on the podcast, I think it's a great movie, and it's all downhill from here, basically.
Yeah. That sounds right. But but I'm still excited.
That's right.
Yes. All right, everyone. Now that we've kind of given our initial thoughts, this is your spoiler warning. We are about to spoil everything and anything about this movie. So again, if you've not watched it and are okay with spoilers, keep listening. We love to have you here. If you don't want spoilers, go watch the movie, come back right to this moment, and take a listen, because we want you here and we want you to listen to our thoughts. So there is your spoiler warning. Buddy,
Yeah.
we got a 3-minute recap coming up, though.
Oh man. And you
boy.
know what we do for our 3-minute recap, buddy.
What's that? What do we do?
Okay, so I have my virtual, beautiful, orange 20-sided die. It is orange, by the way.
Is it always orange?
It's always orange.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to keep rolling it until you tell me to stop. If it's odd, you'll be doing it. If it's even, I'll be doing it. So I am rolling it now.
And I'm going to have you stop.
It is even. I'm doing it.
All
Here we
right.
go.
Good. Before you start, of course, I just want to say, one, I love when you do the 3-minute recap, because I think you do a phenomenal job. I really do. I think you do a really great job.
I also think you do a phenomenal job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I don't believe it. That being said, I actually called Julia Garner. because
Julia?
She and I, yeah, we go way back. I hung out with her when she was on Ozark. We're best friends. It's no big, almost best friends.
You hung out
Almost.
with her on Ozark?
Yeah, I wasn't even on it, but yeah, I just, back in the day.
You just,
And so we
delivered-
became really good friends.
You supplied drugs for everybody?
Yeah, that's right. That was, yeah, that's right. You know my other job.
Because Ozark's about drugs, right?
It is.
Okay, I've never seen it, so I'm just...
Oh yeah, it's dark. But anyway, I was telling her. I told her, hey, someday you're probably gonna do a Wolfman movie, and if you do, I'll probably be doing a podcast with my best friend Scotty. And she said, well, I know you. I think you're great. I don't care about what you say about the movie. I care about what your friend says, because I don't know him yet. And so she wants to know how this 3-minute recap is going to go. I told her that you're going to do it. So I just texted her.
She just wants to know? That's it?
She just wants to know. She's just curious how it goes. And I'm going to text her afterward how it went. But she has to wait until the episode comes out to listen. She doesn't get privileges. So
Does she by chance call you Andrew Damas now, since you predicted this so well?
she does.
Way back when you did Ozark? You
Yeah,
supplied
way
drugs
back
for
then.
Ozark?
That's right.
Everybody, you may not know this, but Andrew is a very prominent, I wouldn't say drug dealer because that's illegal.
That's right.
But when movie studios do movies that have, and TV shows that have to do with drugs, and they need drugs to have on screen, Andrew's right there for him. That's what he does. He's the
I'm the
drug
guy.
supplier of everybody. And you know those myths that people talk about, like on Boogie Nights, where like when they're doing the old nose candy
Yeah,
on screen, and they're like, it's not real, it's flour.
Right.
you've told me before, it's real. Everybody does cocaine in movies.
It is all real, and it's anarchy. Those scenes take months to complete.
Oh boy, the rehab after all these movies is crazy.
It's awful. Yeah, it's wild, man. It is. It's a different world.
One of Hollywood's biggest secrets.
That's right.
Anyway, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna do the 3-minute recap to Wolfman.
Oh, right, Wolfman.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Okay, so Wolfman begins like any other story with a prologue. Young Blake lives in the mountainous regions around a forest with his father. His father is very hard on Blake, wakes him up early in the morning to go hunting. They go hunting. When Blake wants to look at some poisonous mushrooms, his dad gets onto him, says, "You could die any second. You know, it's really hard to live, but it's so easy to die." Blah, blah, blah. Nice little monologue. Blake goes to try and shoot a deer, and he sees a human figure through the scope. And then his dad comes along, and they end up running up into a deer blind. And while they're in there, something comes up. They see the breath in the air. I forget what they call it, but it's the condensation of the breath. And then a deer sounds, and then it runs off. And his dad looks and kind of sees it through a scope. And the next thing, he's in a basement, and he's talking to his buddy and saying he's seen the face of the wolf. Cut to 30 years later. Blake is now an adult. He's got a daughter named Ginger, who is adorable. He's got a wife who he's having issues with, but he gets a piece of mail that says that his dad has finally been pronounced dead because his dad went missing in the woods, but now he's been pronounced dead. So in an attempt to rekindle his relationship with his wife, mainly for his daughter, they go out to the mountainous regions back home to take care of his dad's estate and all that. When they're out there, he gets kind of lost in the woods. They meet Derek, a guy who he knew as a kid. Derek gets in the truck to show them the way. As they're driving at night, there's a human shape in the road. And this moving truck goes off the road and slides and actually gets propped up by these trees, and it's really cool. And then something attacks the truck. It slices up Derek and pulls him away, and it cuts Blake's arm a little bit. Then Blake and his wife and daughter, they run, and they find his old house, and they go inside it. Now they're in this house, and the rest of the movie takes place over the single night. The Wolfman is outside. Meanwhile, inside, Blake is slowly, not quickly, but slowly becoming infected with this disease that is turning him into a wolf-like human. He's starting to see better in the dark. He's starting to hear things really clearly. And then also, he cannot understand what his wife and daughter are saying, and vice versa. They can't understand what he's saying because he's kind of talking in monosyllabic things. He's like, I used such a good word there, and then I couldn't finish the sentence really nicely. I wish I had. Anyway, he's talking kind of like a wolf. He's, kind of like that. They go out to this truck. They try and get away. The Wolfman in the woods attacks them, and then Blake leads it off, and Blake and the Wolfman fight. Blake comes back to the house, and all this time, he's turning more and more into this wolf-like human, but he's still kind of got his mind. He comes back to the house. Eventually, the Wolfman comes back, and Blake and him fight, and of course, we find out that the Wolfman was his dad. His dad had gone off in the woods, gotten infected, and had become a Wolfman. After Blake kills his father by tearing out his throat, he starts to transform. He runs out of the house and finishes his transformation. When he comes back, he's now fully transformed. He has no control over his violent appetite. Charlotte and Ginger, trying to get away from him, go to the barn where Charlotte puts out a animal trap, a bear trap type thing, which Blake gets his foot caught in. They run off into the woods, Ginger and Charlotte. Blake gnaws off his own foot. He gnaws through his leg to escape and to get to Ginger and Charlotte. Ginger and Charlotte find the truck. Charlotte finds the shotgun that Derek had in the truck. Then Charlotte and Ginger go up a deer blind. Blake comes along, Wolf Blake. As he's coming up, he pauses for a second. He's looking at both of them. He looks at Ginger, and Ginger said, she says, he wants it to be over, Mommy. And then Blake lunges. Charlotte shoots him. He dies. And then the final scene is Charlotte and Ginger together going out into this mountainous valley that Blake and his father were in at the beginning of the movie, and a nice full circle moment with gorgeous music playing. And that's the end.
Nice, man. Just under 3 minutes.
Whoa, really? God, it felt like an eternity.
Not to us. In fact, I just wrote Julia and said, hey, this is probably one of the best 3-minute recaps. And she just gave a thumbs up, so I'm not sure. Oh, well. But that's great. You did a great job.
She didn't say bring me more drugs?
She didn't. No, she's doing well. So.
Okay, good.
She's got Fantastic Four to, she's got to do well on that. So,
all right. Well, now that we're into spoiler territory,
yes,
you like this movie a lot.
I did. I really did.
So, talk to me about it. Did you have issues with it?
No. And you know what? So here's the thing. Before this came out, they were kind of advertising this movie, I think, for Halloween Horror Nights or something like that.
Right.
And they had this a person, dressed up to scare people, sort of dressed as the Wolfman,
I
style.
remember.
And everyone was kind of, myself included, was like, that's the design they're going with? That's, Watching this, though, I went, I get it. Like, I liked the design, and as I was watching, I was kind of mad at myself, and I was like, a werewolf obviously it's fake. It's not a real creature in real life. It's a pretend creature someone made up. Who knows what it's supposed to look like? Like, we see all these movies where the Wolfman is huge and monstrous and whatever, but I mean, it's a made up character. I'm cool with this, that it's just sort of more of a person with a little extra hair and, maybe some features. It was kind of a moment where I just had to kind of slap myself and go, hey, stop thinking that you know what the movie's going to be beforehand and judging it, because you don't know, which I tried not to, but this was one where I did, and it was a nice moment to just kind of smack myself in the head and go, knock it off. So yeah, that was my initial thought, though, of like the design and stuff. But yeah,
I will say about that whole debacle, you got debacled. My neighbor Amy does hair special effects, mostly hair special effects, but hair and makeup special effects.
Cool.
She worked on Wolfman. She was a
so
supervisor.
Cool.
I remember when that happened and people were up in arms about this werewolf design.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so upset about it because the person that they showed was just like this promo guy at Halloween Horror Nights, like you said.
Right.
And it looked really janky. And she said, that's not what he looks like. That's not how the werewolf looks. Right. Or the Wolfman looks like at the end. So, yeah, I was very curious as to what he would end up looking like. But like you, it was pretty much exactly like you. I kind of gathered that he wasn't going to be a full-on, hair from head to toe Wolfman like we've seen before. And I was also game for that.
Nice.
And I was very happy with how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the fact that they treated it like a virus.
Yes, exactly.
The native Indians from the region called it Face of the Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was very cool. I didn't hate it at all.
Good. That wasn't a quibble at all. But jumping back to your question, I really didn't have. Sorry, that was just my initial thought. But
hey, Andrew, do you have any quibbles? Let me talk about what I loved.
Yep, this is all good stuff. No, I don't have any, man. I just really enjoyed this movie for what it was. I thought it was just a good movie.
I do have a couple.
Okay, please.
and in all fairness, these are small.
Okay.
There are just some melodramatic lines of dialogue near the end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, I love the relationship between Blake and Ginger, his daughter.
Yeah, me too.
Their dialogue throughout the majority of the movie was incredible. The more I watch this movie, the more I'm in awe of how good their relationship is and how their dialogue is, which makes the end of the movie even more heartbreaking to me.
Yes.
I also really loved their little routine that they did where he would put her hand on his head and he'd say, "What am I thinking?" That was really cute.
I agree.
But there is a moment at the end or near the end when Blake is in the house. It's right before he almost pukes up blood. And she puts her hand on his head and says, "What am I thinking?" And I felt that was a little bit gratuitous as far as pulling on the heartstrings.
Mm.
And what drove this feeling home for me even more is that at the very end, when he's lying on the ground about to die, she puts her hand on his forehead again, but she doesn't say anything. And that alone, I thought, would have been much more impactful than her actually saying the words. Because to me, what happens there is that when she puts her hand on his head and she says, "What am I thinking?" It kind of just it makes everything else feel like a setup instead of an organic thing between father and daughter.
I get that. I actually do get that. That makes sense. And I agree. Had they cut that little bit and just done the end part with the hand on the head without any words, I agree. I think that would have had more of an impact.
Yeah,
for sure.
It would have been subtle, and you may not have realized what she was doing right away.
Yeah.
But then once you do realize it, or when somebody else points it out to you, you're like, "Oh my God, right.
Yeah.
Wow." The other thing is her line at the end when he's coming up the deer blind and she says, "He wants it to be over." I'm like, How do you know? How do you know he wants it to be over? You don't really read minds. You know this, right? I don't know. It was just a line that didn't need to be said.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if the last movie we talked about, No One Will Save You, proves anything, it's that you don't need dialogue to further your plot.
True.
Sometimes.
I absolutely agree with you. I agree with both of those. And even the way he's like looking at them, you can read it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need that exposition or whatever of her saying it. Like, he just bit his leg off. He clearly has been in pain, like, a lot. He's not doing well. And you're at you get it. You kind of go, "Oh, I get it." So I agree with that.
Exactly. It's like spelling out something that the audience can figure out for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also spelling out something that you could leave up to interpretation.
True.
Because there's a moment he's standing there and he's looking at them and he's given way to his animalistic side. He can't control it now, but he stops and he looks over at Ginger.
Mm-hmm.
And as the audience, without her saying anything, then you would be wondering, is there a moment of humanity left in him at this point? Does he recognize her even through his wolfness or his face of the wolf disease?
I like that.
And then he lunges and she shoots him. Hell, you might even have a moment where you're like, was he lunging to kill them or was he lunging out of remembering who they were?
Right. And wanting to be.
It just would have, it would have left some stuff up for the imagination.
I like that. Yeah. Oh, I agree with you, man.
But that's about it. Like, everything else I freaking love in this movie.
I agree, man. And like I said, when I went into this, oh man, I don't even know if I don't think I had seen the trailer. Maybe a teaser, but I don't know. But I mean, when you hear Wolfman, you at least, like I said, you think something different. But this was just such a wild departure from what my mind had thought, and I was happy about it. I was like, this is nice. This is a very interesting way to do a Wolfman movie. It's very unique and very different than what I've seen, and I'm all about it. I really like the subtlety of this movie as well. I thought it was great.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like maybe its only error was actually calling it Wolfman.
Yeah, I actually had that same thought at one point watching the movie. I had the same thought.
I mean, what if you just call it Face of the Wolf?
Yep.
After the disease in the movie, you know?
Yep.
And then you don't have the expectations of everybody.
I agree.
But at the same time, Wolfman supposedly sells the movie, right? The property. And this is a continuation. It's not, as far as we know, in the same universe, but obviously Leigh Whannell directed The Invisible Man.
Right.
Which, have you seen that?
I loved that movie.
Me too, buddy.
Yes. Yes.
See, and again, he took the concept of The Invisible Man and he changed it to make it more... He actually made it scary for me.
I agree. I agree.
Wolfman was more heartbreaking, but I think that is the point of the story of the Wolfman, is how heartbreaking it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Whether it's a curse or a disease, but the thing this movie had that I wasn't expecting was this amazing human story.
Yep. Me too. Yep.
What did you think about that? What was your thoughts, especially as a father?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of loved it. I mean, everything about, oh man, I just forgot his name, Blake, there we go, was great. Even his childhood, kind of growing up with this really strict father. And then I liked hearing kind of his story as well of leaving. He left because he was too strict. He was too much. Found a new life, essentially. Got married, but then is having these issues with his wife. I mean, it was all, I don't know. It was just, it just, like I said, it made it more grounded. It just made it more of this kind of realistic movie. It wasn't so wild and over the top and crazy. It just made it so you like these characters and you feel for them and you see that they're struggling and you see that they're still trying to make things work and you see that they both have this so much love for their daughter and that they want to make things good to make,
right,
everything okay for her. I mean, it was great. Like, I really loved I loved everybody. I loved this family. And like you said, I mean, this is a heartbreaking movie, and it is. Like, at least for me, I did like them, and I liked that they were trying to just create the best life that they could, but, this horrible thing happens during this time where they could create something or fix some things. It's like this extra bump in the road that you don't come back from. I don't know, man. I liked it.
I love the scene with Blake and Charlotte on the steps of where she works.
Me too.
It's very realistic. It's very painful to watch. But I like the fact that it starts out and you think that it's a breakup scene.
Right.
And then it's not. It's Blake saying that they have this issue between them and that he wants to make it better. Yeah. And I like the fact that she agrees, hesitatingly, but she agrees.
Yep.
And I also love the fact, I love the full circleness of the relationships in this movie. I love the fact that Julia and Charlotte, even though, like you said, Julia loves, Ginger and Charlotte.
Right, yes.
Charlotte loves Ginger, but she's so busy with work that now Blake is the stay-at-home father.
Right. And so their relationship is obviously different than with Charlotte because they've spent so much more time together. They spend all day together or, whatever.
Exactly.
So it makes sense.
And Charlotte even says that she's forgotten how to spend time with her daughter.
Right.
And then this thing happens, and by the end of the movie, now Charlotte is Ginger's caretaker. And I mean, obviously she's her mom too.
Right.
I don't want to downplay that she's her mother.
Right.
But she's been forced into this situation where she shows her love for her daughter and how willing she is to do whatever it takes to protect her.
Right. Well, it's almost like, I mean, yeah, it's like that instinct kicked in again, even though she hasn't spent as much time with her daughter, it's like that parent instinct just is there. You need to protect your kid at all costs. And it kicks in immediately. And even, I mean, you see it after Blake gets scratched, kind of the first little bit of time that they're there when I think he's hammering like a bookshelf or something to the door, and he's just really quiet.
Yeah.
And you can see that moment, which I really liked, where, I want to keep calling her Charlotte, just kind of looks at her, and then I think she even goes back to Ginger right away, or goes towards her or something.
That's a little different, though.
What? Help me out.
Well, no, you're right, but you're talking about the part where he's at the bookshelf and then he talks to Ginger and she doesn't say anything and then Charlotte comes up the stairs. That was the first moment that they couldn't understand what he was saying.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, you're right.
But I didn't pick up on that until my second viewing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Like, you don't know until they go down into the basement and it actually shows that, oh, she can't understand what he's saying.
Right.
So the beautiful thing about a second viewing of this movie is you see that moment and you see his daughter just looking at, you see Blake's daughter, you see Ginger just looking up at Blake as he's talking to her. And then Charlotte comes up the stairs and he says something to Charlotte and Charlotte just stares at him.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's because they can't understand what he's saying and they're scared.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what's happening to Blake? What's happening to Daddy?
Right. Right.
I love the final shot of this movie so much.
Me too. And actually, the second we see because at the beginning they do like they show the words on the screen or whatever, and it's 1995, blah 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 blah, in Oregon, and I was like, yeah, Oregon, and because I see all the trees, and I go, that's gotta be close to where I'm at, because I'm Washington State, and so when it said Oregon, I was like, there we go, awesome.
Oh, I don't know if I should tell you this, buddy.
Oh no, where was it filmed?
That wasn't Oregon.
Oh no,
that was New Zealand.
Oh wow. Okay, well there you go.
I love the fact. No, if Leigh Whannell is listening to this right now,
yeah,
he's going to be so happy that you actually thought it was Oregon.
I did. I mean, because it's so, I will say this, like the Pacific Northwest is so pretty. It's just green and there's trees everywhere. So like that's what I went with. I was like, oh, it's gotta be close because it's
But you
so
thought
green
it was
and pretty.
Oregon before they even said it was Oregon.
Yeah, well, no, I thought it was Pacific Northwest. I wasn't sure where, but when it said Oregon, I was like, oh, there we go. Yeah, it's gotta be because it's so pretty.
Oh, that is so awesome. Area. I love that so much.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well done, Leigh. You tricked someone that lives here. You win.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, but I love the fact, and let's talk about this for a second. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, we see Blake and his dad in that exact spot, looking out at that valley.
Yes. Yeah.
But as viewers of the movie, especially a second time, you kind of know what's ahead of them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whereas at the end, now you see Charlotte and Ginger. Charlotte, who has just shown unbelievable protection of Ginger, is now in this spot where now she's going to be a mom. Blake is gone.
Right.
And it's just her. She's taking care of Ginger now. And they just have this whole future in front of them,
Nice.
I love that so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. And it's fun too, because at the beginning it's, Grady and Blake. At the end it's Charlotte and Ginger. It's cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And of course, you have one of my favorite things in movies when a movie takes place over a single night, and at the end of the movie, it's the next morning.
Yep.
I just love that. I love it.
Yep. Me too.
And that's something else I want to mention. I don't know about you, but I went into this movie as open-minded as I was, thinking that this movie was going to take place over a number of days.
That's what I thought too. That was my that was my thought.
I remember a specific moment in the theater thinking, oh my God, is this movie all going to take place over this one night? And It got me so excited. And I loved that. I thought it was so good.
Me too. I agree. I thought it was very interesting because it was one of those things to where I'm like, I mean, it's a Wolfman, so obviously it's gonna get worse. And if this is all happening in one night, this is gonna be a brutal night. And I don't know how they're gonna, move it along to that transformation. But I thought they paced it beautifully.
Oh my God,
it was so nice.
And I love the moment when I think he kind of passes out in the kitchen, and when he wakes up, he looks at the clock and it's only like 1:30, and I'm like, oh, there's so much night still to go. Oh no, I love that.
Me too. Yep, me too.
The acting in this movie was phenomenal.
Yes. Yes.
We've already talked about Julia Garner. She was great. But
she's always great.
Oh my God, Christopher Abbott, dude.
Yeah, man.
How good was he?
I loved him. I mean, honestly, the second we see him in New York
Mm-hmm.
for the first time, and he's being a cool dad, and then she doesn't listen, he kind of loses his temper, and then goes back to like, I'm so sorry, and like you see that moment of like, oh, that was my dad talking. He doesn't say
Yeah.
it there, but you see it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oof, he's good. Like, I like this guy. He's so good in this, at this role. I mean, everything. It was awesome.
And especially his gradual transformation into the Wolfman, I guess.
Yeah.
That takes so much talent in my eyes,
Mhm.
because obviously they don't shoot a movie usually in order.
Right.
So he had to take notes of every scene. How far along in the transformation am I? And sit there and act that part. Like, what am I perceiving? How am I relating to everybody else at this moment in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
And he had to make sure that he was just on point with that,
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it was amazing. And when he starts to really, really become this wolf person, he was just so good.
I believed him. I mean, truly, I sat there and I was like, this is a very scary, sick person. It wasn't like an actor in makeup. I was like, this is a sick individual that's going through a lot. He played the part perfectly. Like, it was scary. It was very scary.
He's so good. He was in movies that I haven't seen.
Help me out. Yeah.
Well, no, he was in a bunch of things. He's that guy. He's that guy that you recognize from movies and you can't remember what,
Right. Yeah.
But the movies that I have not seen are It Comes at Night.
I haven't either. Okay.
And Possessor.
Oh, me either. Okay.
Which I need to see because that was done, I think that's a movie by Brandon Cronenberg.
Yes, I think you're right. Yes.
I think I'm right. If I'm wrong, everybody can crucify me.
I hope not.
But Christopher Abbott, not more than Christopher Abbott, but oh my God, Matilda Firth as Ginger.
She's so cute.
She's beyond cute. She was so good. That little girl is British.
What?
Yeah, she's British.
Oh, I can usually tell. She did wow, good work, Matilda. That's impressive.
The moments that really get me, though, are, and I know I talked about them earlier, but the what am I thinking parts.
Mm-hmm.
There's this cute little eye roll thing that she does. Like, again, Dad, oh my God. Like, she loves it, but at the same time, it's like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
The way she does that is so beyond her years.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a lot of she's got a huge future in front of her. Mark my words right now that Matilda Firth is going to be amazing. As long as adults don't mess up her life as a kid actor.
Yeah, God, I hope not.
If she makes that transition to an adult actor, she's going to be incredible because just in this movie alone, there are certain facial expressions that she gives Blake or Charlotte or the situation in general.
Right.
That just felt so adult to me.
I would agree with you. Absolutely.
And then I love the bit actors. I loved who played Grady. You wrote that down.
I did. Hold on, I'm getting there. Grady was played by Sam Jaeger.
Sam Jaeger. Yeah, he played Blake's dad fantastically.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And also Derek. Benedict Hardie played Derek. Small part, but so freaking memorable.
For sure. Oh man, very effective. And I was nervous that whole scene where they pick him up and he says, "I'll take you there. I'll take you to your dad's house or whatever." I was nervous that whole scene, not even because of the wolf man. I was scared of him. I was like, he's giving off some vibes right now, and it turns out he was not. But I mean, they just make it feel that way a little bit, and I was nervous for that family. I won't lie, which is great. He did a great job.
You know what?
What?
I wasn't nervous at all, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like he was just this guy who lives out in the mountains. He may be a little rough around the edges compared to city folk.
Right, yeah.
But I felt that I did feel he was more of a protector than a danger to them.
Right on.
So I just love his facial expressions though. Like that.
Yeah.
he did have a little bit of condescension to him,
Yes, yeah, for sure.
but it was condescension mixed with kindness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when they say that they're tough and he says, "You don't look tough."
Yeah.
And it's kind of condescending, but then he immediately says, "But that's a good thing. It means that you
Right.
live a good life."
Right.
So, but beyond everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
beyond all the other actors, I just want to say that I think Leigh Whannell was the standout member of this cast as Dan. Just unbelievable voice acting.
Oh, I did not know that was the director. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I
That's
honestly
funny.
don't know for sure, but he's credited as being Dan, and I think that's the guy on the other end of when Grady is talking on the
Right.
radio.
And he's like, dude, stop. Like, come on, man. What you're saying is ridiculous. That's funny.
Now, one other thing I'm going to say real quick about the cast, and this is actually, I don't usually shout out to the casting department.
Oh, yeah, right on.
There's like 7 people listed on IMDb in the casting department, but whoever cast Zach Chandler as young Blake, perfect. He looks just like a young Christopher Abbott.
He really does. And he was good too. He had just a little bit part, but he did a great job as well.
Yeah. But now let's get to Leigh Whannell because, oh my God.
Yeah, dude.
You know what? I know he wrote Saw and I know he directed Invisible Man, but I think I still underestimate how good a director he can be.
I get that. I get that.
I mean, he hasn't directed many movies,
Mm-hmm.
but I know his first directorial movie was Insidious Chapter 3, which wasn't as well received as the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Upgrade. I hear it's really good, though.
I liked Upgrade.
You did? You've seen it?
I did. Yeah, I did see it, and it's a fun movie, man.
You know what?
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm looking at his credits as a director, and I think it's just Insidious Chapter 3. His other movies have been, I mean, Invisible Man has been arguable within the horror community, but most people seem to appreciate it. I don't know. I like him. But I thought he was, I hate to say better than average. I don't know. I think he was spectacular as a director on Wolfman.
I agree. Yep.
There are moments when he knows exactly how to ramp up the tension.
Yes.
Like one of the moments I love is when they're running to the house.
Mm-hmm.
As they're running across the yard. I like how the camera doesn't specifically show the Wolfman chasing them.
Yes.
It's more you're looking at them, but then you see it in the background running.
Yes. Yep.
And that's scarier to me than just showing the Wolfman running.
I 100% agree. There was a lot of things like that though too, where
Yeah.
he knows, like you said, he knows how to put some suspense where it needs to be without being over the top.
Right.
Like, okay.
Like right at the beginning when young Blake is looking through the scope.
Yes. Yeah.
And he sees the shadow of the man standing there. Like, oh, it's so good. Like after you see it a few times, you're like, oh, look at that. But the first time you watch this movie and you're just like, oh my God, that's cool.
And I was nervous too that they were going to do too much of that. But we only get really that one shot with young Blake at that moment. Because I was like, oh no, he's going to look to the left and then keep looking. And then we're going to see its face pop up right in front of the...
Right.
You know, the cliche thing, but it never happens. And I was like, yes, finally. Like, I like that. I'd rather be sitting there going, is it? And then it doesn't. You go, oh, cool. Okay. Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. I love the fact that he kind of tries to avoid cliches.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yep.
I also love the moment in the deer blind at the beginning, the way I love his little use of the moisturization of the breath or condensation, whatever it is. And then how it appears behind him.
Yes.
For a moment.
Yep.
And then they're saved by the deer making a noise.
Again, I was nervous that when we see that the breath behind him, that the arm was going to come up and grab him or something was going to pull him, but it doesn't. And I was like, yes, like this is a great scene on how to build suspense and not be ridiculous with it. It was a great scene. And I love too, they never show it or never mention it, but when they leave the deer blind at some point, or it shows the outside of it, I think, you just see a couple scratches on the door.
Yes.
I was like, great. I love that.
But even better, at the end of the movie, when Charlotte and Ginger go up into the deer blind, the scratches are still there.
Yeah. Awesome.
I love that. I love that that's the exact same deer blind that Blake and his dad were in.
Yeah. Full circle, man. Full circle.
Loved it. Yeah, there was those moments. What were some other great moments that I
really loved the way they used what he was seeing and what they were seeing.
The wolf vision,
yeah, and just everything in him, because you're seeing it kind of from his side, where it's almost like things are off, but he's still like, what's going? Why are you not getting this? Why are you not understanding what I'm doing right now? And it's the same on the other side of, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on with you? It was just cool to get that flip-flop between the two of them and see kind of the sickness from both sides, someone who is sick and someone who's not. I thought that was a really cool way to do it and show what was going on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing you start to realize on a second viewing is how early they start to introduce that, because the movie is mostly from Blake's point of view.
Right.
So if you pay attention, there's moments like just when he goes to the sink to drink the water out of the sink, you notice that the room's a little bit slightly brighter. It's a little bit, it's got a bluish tint to it. And that was on purpose. Leigh Whannell wanted the audience to start to see things the way Blake sees them, very gradually.
Cool. That's cool.
Before he does the whole camera circle thing where you see Blake's vision, which was done so cool. I thought a lot of that was done with color correction, but a lot of that was done practically with a camera. They had this thing around the lens of the camera that cast this blue kind of light on things.
Right.
When they're filming that scene where Blake is in the basement with Charlotte, and you see it from Blake's point of view at first, and they had the blue light on.
Wow.
But then as the camera moves in front of Charlotte and it changes to her point of view, that light turns off. They turned off lights on the set itself.
Cool.
To make it dark, and obviously I'm sure color correction also helped. But
Right.
to do all that practically was amazing.
That's really cool. I would not have thought that. So that's really cool. Oh,
what did you think of the scene where he starts hearing noises from upstairs?
At this point, we don't know it's his dad, but the dad is running around outside, And I thought at first, I was like, oh, there's a secret entrance into the house, or he climbed on the roof and climbed in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it totally, the second we see what it really is, I was like, of course, he's getting like better hearing. He's getting all these animal-like instincts, wolf-like instincts. So I loved it.
What does he see?
Oh yeah. He sees a spider, a giant spider, a spider that I've never seen that big in Pacific Northwest, but a very big spider.
That was one clue that this wasn't filmed in the Pacific Northwest or in America at all, because that is a huntsman spider.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, that, I don't think there's any that big here, but hey, it's a great scene though, so I don't care.
That spider was the star of Arachnophobia.
That spider has aged very well.
Right? I thought so too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
No work.
No, I thought the exact same things you thought. I thought it was the other wolf man coming into the house, and then when you find out it's a spider. Now, I was a little bit, this was something I gave the movie, because if we are seeing a lot of things from Blake's point of view, like suddenly he can hear the spider that loud.
Right.
But then we don't hear anything else.
Right.
Because so why was the spider noise isolated from everything else? And he would have been able to hear like the wind or like things hitting the roof. If he's able to hear a spider crawling on a wall that loud, I know it was a cheat, and it's just like, this is just an example of what he can hear, and then he probably gets it under control, much like Spider-Man gets his powers under control.
Oh my gosh. Is this a prequel sequel to Spider-Man?
It is.
I knew it.
It is.
I knew it.
But yeah, I love that scene.
Yeah.
The body horror.
Oof. Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
This movie is a body horror movie, and I was not expecting that.
I was not either. It's definitely a body horror movie. Yeah.
Usually in a werewolf movie, we have one big transformation scene.
Right.
But as we've talked about, this whole movie deals with the transformation over time. There is still a transformation scene later in the movie, but we'll get to that.
Right.
But man, like first we just have the cut on his arm when Charlotte is cleaning it. Oh no, first we have his tooth falling out when he bites into the beef jerky. Ugh.
Yep. Yeah.
Then we have her cleaning the cut, and as gross as it is, there's something so satisfying to me when she pours the hydrogen peroxide or whatever in the cut, and it just foams up inside the cut.
Yep.
There's that tiny bit of OCD in me, and that just like, it's so satisfying to see that foam up only within the cut.
I totally agree.
It's so nice. But then we have, oh man, the scene where he starts bleeding and Charlotte sees it and she tells Ginger to go in the other room and she unwraps his arm and it's just gross. And Leigh Whannell said that he grossed himself out. He made himself sick with the scene and he loved that he did that.
And the fact that he, as you know, as a dog might do when there's an injury, starts gnawing at it. And he runs to the corner and starts chewing, and it's disgusting. It's so gross.
That's what I'm talking about when Leigh Whannell grossed himself out, when he made himself sick. And for me, that's still the hardest part to watch in this movie.
I would agree, for sure, man.
And it's not just when he starts gnawing, it's right before when he starts scratching at it. And you're just like, stop, please.
Yep.
And then the part in the barn. Oh, no. Before the barn, when he pukes up blood and he pukes up his dad's finger.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Oh, man. Right after the sweet part with Ginger, too.
Yep.
That was, so good. And it was all practical, so it just looked good.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a bonus featurette where they actually, for a moment, they show that from like another, like somebody filming that scene, and it's still just as disgusting. Ugh.
Ew. Gross.
And then he gets his leg caught in the animal trap, and he gnaws his own leg off.
Yes.
Now, did you think of this at all? I didn't think of this until I listened to Leigh Whannell's commentary. And he said, yes, it's a throwback to Saw. It's a little on the nose.
I did not, but that's amazing. Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't catch it until Leigh Whannell said it.
No, but that's hilarious.
That's brilliant.
That is. I will say, too, at that moment, because we see him kind of stumble out as Charlotte and Ginger are running, and I was like, oh, good. Like, I mean, they can get away. He's obviously, how do you walk on?
Yeah.
And the second he starts going on all fours, I was like, oh, no. That's how he gets there quicker, It was just like, you got me.
I did this out of order, but
yes, yeah.
The transformation scene.
Yes.
We've seen some great transformation scenes, and obviously American Werewolf in London is still what most people consider one of the best.
Yeah.
But I thought this was great. I thought this was awesome. You don't see a lot, but you see things happening underneath the skin.
Yeah.
You see his nails,
pop
like
out.
his wolf nails coming out, but also making his real fingernails fall off.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
You see his bone structure inside his chest and stuff changing.
Yeah.
And then the best part is when he reaches up and he pulls his lower jaw out of socket.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, that was a complete prosthetic Blake.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. They actually showed it in one of the behind the scenes featurette. And when you look at it, you see it and you're like, okay, that makes sense. But I had no idea. And I was just blown away by how real that looks.
Man, it really, honestly, I thought it was hit. Like, I did not know that was fake. I didn't know at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. But if you think, I mean, man, how times have changed. You think of, like, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, where you see something, I mean, it's just like, it's wild how things have changed, how amazing people have gotten at this. Like, that's so cool. That's so cool. Wow.
That was an incredible scene, and that was absolutely my favorite moment of the transformation, because you don't see that too often.
No.
And it also goes to explaining the whole, like, how a wolf man's lower jaw is jutting out further than the top of the jaw.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
So,
Very big underbite.
Yeah, I love that. Behind the scenes, did you know that when he chewed off his leg, as a matter of fact, I know that you don't know this, but when he chewed off his leg to make it more pleasant for him, they had white chocolate underneath the whatever the top rubber part was, so that when he bit through the leg, he was biting into chocolate.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. Also, when they're in the truck, and the truck is covered in dust, that dust is cinnamon.
Random. Weird. Cool.
Here's another behind the scenes for you, pal.
Yeah.
When they're in the truck, before, like, after she has started the truck, and I think she gets out. Anyway, just a moment before the Wolfman appears on the hood of the truck, there's a shot of Blake, and behind him you see a person, like a figure, walking through the dust. That was an accident. That was a crew member.
Really? Because I caught that.
Yeah. That was a crew member that got in the shot, and they used it as part of the movie.
Oh, that was a happy accident. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
One thing I want to bring up, too, before I forget, since you brought up the pickup.
Yeah.
Again, I appreciated kind of the realism of some of this, or the groundedness, where, because when they see the truck, and then they kind of book it out to the truck like it's going to start. And I was looking at that, and I go, that's really, you're going to start this truck that's probably not been used in like 20 years. I was like, this is going to be so dumb if it starts or whatever. But I love that she was so smart and obviously thought about that. And as they're walking out, she grabs, she has the jump start to start it.
She grabs that from the basement.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so it was just smart. Like, I was just happy. I was like, I was really hoping it wasn't one of those things where they go and try and start and they're like, it's not starting. Oh, we need to go get blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It was like, no, they thought it through. Like, we're not idiots. Just like the audience isn't dumb. I mean, I just felt like it was nice.
Well, I beg to differ about us being idiots, because let me tell you about my experience, my friend.
Oh, sorry. Oops.
First time I saw that part, I noticed that she grabbed the battery.
Right.
And then they go out to the truck, and just let me tell you this. I know you probably already noticed this, but they go out to the truck, and then suddenly the battery is in front of the truck when she goes there. And I'm like, wait a second. She didn't grab the battery. I didn't see her grab the battery. I watched the movie a second time. The second time I watched the movie, I'm sitting there watching her, and I'm like, they messed up. She does not grab the battery at all. And then suddenly the battery's there. Oh my God, they messed up. No, the third time I watched this movie, I saw that Blake is carrying the battery. I'm an idiot.
No, you're not. No.
I'm the idiot, everybody.
No, and I didn't mean it like, I didn't mean that was the idiot. I just meant like that people would be like,
I'm the
it's
idiot.
Start right
I'm
up.
saying
That's
I'm the idiot. I'm just telling you right now, I'm the idiot. No. I'm an idiot.
You're a beautiful, smart human being.
I am an idiot.
No.
There is a message in this movie, believe it or not, and it's not just about human relationships and family relationships.
Ooh, lay it on me, man.
Something we haven't mentioned is the very opening shot of this movie, which I was confused about a little bit, but the opening shot is of the ants attacking the wasp.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
Which, behind the scenes, that was real ants and a real wasp, and they had a wasp wrangler who had to... He saved the wasp. The wasp did not die. They let it happen, and then they got the ants off of the wasp, and the wasp was fine. Go figure.
Right? Wild, dude.
Yeah. But the whole point of that shot was the ruthlessness of nature, and that was Whannell's entire message in this movie, is how ruthless nature is.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
You know, I mean, it's a horrible thing to see. Like, even though it's just a wasp and ants, you're
Right.
watching these ants like tear this wasp down. And normally I wouldn't care because, you know, wasps sting people and they're
Right.
terrible. But yeah, the ruthlessness of nature. And that comes into play, I mean, throughout the whole movie, but especially at the end when Blake makes the transformation from still trying to protect his family and still recognizing them as his family, even though they can't understand each other,
Right.
to becoming this full-on diseased person who just wants to kill them.
Right. Yep.
The ruthlessness of nature.
The ruthlessness of nature. That would have been a good title for this. The ruthlessness of nature.
I think it would have been okay. I love the shot when he does become full wolf and he looks out at the forest and the forest just has that blue light. I love that shot.
Yeah, me too. That was cool.
I also love the final wolf vision shot when he's in the barn and the camera, they do the silence of the lambs moment where they can't see him, but he can see them perfectly. But the way that it deforms their faces.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Love that so much.
Me too. Because then it almost is like the humanity in him is almost gone. Like he doesn't even see his family. You know what I mean? He sees these monsters or these creatures. You know, it's I liked it too.
Yeah, they were like aliens. It was so crazy. Yeah, I loved the whole thing with the truck.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the way it was balanced on the limb or on the trees or whatever, the way it, and then how the wolf man climbed along the bottom side. Oh, it was just so well filmed. Again, Leigh Whannell is a genius, and I can't wait to see even more from him.
Me too. Yeah.
There's a moment also that I didn't recognize, but it's when, I think it's right after that he's at the bookshelf at the door.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And they can't understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And when he turns back to the bookshelf, I didn't notice this the first couple times I watched this movie, but he lets out this noise and it's like this, oh. And it's just like, it's a little subtle thing, but it's just a thing of him turning into this wolf creature.
Nice. That's awesome.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about, do you have anything else besides sound and music?
No, I think that honestly kind of covers what I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say this is a neat little touch. Ginger and Charlotte were dressed in red during the drive into the forest.
Oh, okay.
And that was Leigh's way of making them seem like game being hunted.
Huh? Okay. Interesting.
Here's some behind the scenes stuff real quick, because Whannell did a commentary on this, and he's awesome. He's so good. He's so funny. He's busting jokes the entire time. It is one of the most entertaining commentaries I've listened to.
Wow, that's cool.
So I highly recommend that you go listen to it, buddy.
Yeah, definitely.
I've mentioned most of these, though, but one of the first things he said that made so much sense to me is that he's very influenced by Martin Scorsese.
Oh, okay.
So
I could see that.
Yeah, it's just the way he films a scene.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't put my finger on it, like why it seems so skilled.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's watching Scorsese and how Scorsese sets up a scene and films a scene, then hell yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Also, Julia Garner
mm-hmm.
studied the 7 stages of grief for the part.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Finally, I knew this was something, but I wasn't sure what until Leigh Whannell said what it was. But the rental company on the truck is Pierce Truck Rental. Do you know where that's from?
Pierce.
By any chance?
Uh-uh.
That is Jack Pierce, who was in charge of the makeup on the original Wolfman movie. It's a reference to him.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's very cool.
And then I mentioned this, I'm gonna come full circle, much like this movie.
Yeah. Like almost like a full moon.
I loved the conversations between Blake and Ginger. one of my favorite conversations between him and Ginger is when she says, "Did that man die, Daddy?" And the way he talks to her, at first he says, "I don't know," but then he's honest with her. He's like, he probably did die. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. And I'm sorry for what that's going to do to you. I'm your father, and I'm supposed to protect you, and I wasn't able to protect you in that moment. It's just like this vulnerability that he shows his daughter.
Yes.
That I feel like fathers everywhere need to be that vulnerable with their kids at times.
I 100% agree.
I'm just making a movement like bam.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, cut. No,
no, that was boom.
Boom. No, it's true though. I mean, you're exactly right. Like, it was a beautiful moment, and I agree that I think all parents just need to be that vulnerable sometimes. I think kids need to see that. They need to see that, and it's healthy.
Honest and vulnerable.
Right. Yes. Honest and vulnerable. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So finally, before we get to 3 questions, I have to mention the sound and the music in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
First of all, the sound. This is one of the best sound designs I've heard in a movie in a long time.
Nice.
Full disclosure, I recently got a small subwoofer, which completes my little home theater setup.
Yeah, dude.
And the first movie I watched after I got that subwoofer a few weeks ago was Wolfman.
Yeah, dude.
And it's so good. The sound in this movie is so well separated into the different channels. If you're listening to this with surround sound, it's unbelievable.
Nice.
Last night when I was rewatching this movie to take notes, I had Bowie, my cat, in my lap, and the part with the spider and the sounds, it bothered her. She doesn't get bothered by sounds in a movie too much, but that constant thumping, she got out of my lap at that point. And I was like, I turned it down. I'm like, I'm sorry, Bowie. Oh,
that's sad, but well done to the movie.
Also awesome.
Yeah.
But the music, buddy. Did you notice the music this time?
I did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, in this one for sure. Yeah.
Did you see who composed it by any chance?
No, I didn't. Who was it?
It's my man Benjamin Wallfisch again.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Alien Romulus.
Yes.
Annabelle Creation. It, chapters 1 and 2.
Man.
The Flash. Benjamin Wallfisch.
Huh. Ended it on that one. But yeah. No, he's... No, he's awesome. I'm excited to see more of him. He really knows how to set a scene. He really knows how to add.
Hear more of him?
I did mean that, actually.
I know you did. No, it was so good. And he also did The Invisible Man with Leigh Whannell.
That makes sense. That's awesome.
So Leigh's worked with him before.
Cool.
But my God, the strings in this movie, especially at the end, when Charlotte and Ginger are in the valley and the way the music comes up, such a beautiful piece of music.
Yep. Yes. No, it honestly makes that final shot perfect. Like, it really does. It's already beautiful, but if you add the music to it, you can't beat it. You really can't. It's perfect.
And I'll mention real quick, I know the movie does have a little card in the middle of it that says 30 years later.
Right. Yes.
But there's a piece of music at that moment, and there's a track on the soundtrack called 30 Years Later.
Oh, cool.
And I know for a fact that Wallfisch, or Benjamin, as I should call him, that Benjamin Wallfisch thought back to his tracks on It, chapters 1 and 2, and said 27 years later.
That's awesome.
That's what those tracks are called.
That's
anyway,
cool.
Blah, blah, blah. Are you ready for 3 questions?
I think so.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
All right, question number 1, my friend.
Yes.
What did you think was the best kill or death in Wolfman?
We get a couple, but I think just with everything we've talked about, I would say Blake. Just there's a lot going on in that moment, and I think it was we talked about it, but I think that was a great scene and a good way for sad, but you needed to It was just a needed moment. And it was nice and sad and scary and everything. So I would say Blake. What about you, buddy?
Strangely, I think I agree with you.
Okay.
But at the same time, when I think about it, the first death that came to my mind was Derek.
And yeah.
I think that's also really well done. The way he's just, you hear the wolf slashing into him, and then you see his body just being pulled out.
Yes. Yep.
And then later you see his disemboweled arm, or whatever you call it. His arm.
Yep.
You see his arm.
You see his arm.
And it's cut off. It's not decapitated because that's a head.
That's true.
Question number 2. Did you think this movie was scary?
So for me, I didn't lose sleep, but there's definitely moments that are creepy, that are eerie, that stick with you a bit. Again, I'm not thinking about it now, getting nervous, but it was, well, watching it, it's stressful and it's eerie.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I agree completely with you.
Nice.
I think there are some scenes that the tension is filmed perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
or the scenes are filmed perfectly to ratchet up the tension.
Yeah. There you go.
I think Leigh Whannell could be a new master of suspense if he keeps going this way. I mean, I think he did that very well with Invisible Man, and I think he continued with this.
I agree. I'm hoping we get more of these types of films from him. I think that'd be amazing.
I do too, but it's not that hopeful, because this movie it underperformed.
That sucks.
It does suck. And Invisible Man came out during COVID. It didn't have a chance to perform, but I love what Whannell is doing with the Universal monsters.
Yeah, me too.
And I want to see more.
Honestly, and this, I even thought this while I was watching, or at the end of Wolfman, I should say, I was like, they don't say they're in the same universe, this and Invisible Man, but I was like, I'm going to make them in the same universe. I want to. I'm going to.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. So,
there you go. They happened in the same universe.
In my mind, they did, and I love it.
I love it too. Which brings me to question number 3. Did you have fun with horror?
I had a lot of fun with horror. Yes.
Me too. Me too, buddy. Yeah. Now, I've never asked you to do this before, but I'm going to ask you right now.
Right.
If you were turning into the face of the wolf and you made like a little wolf-like sound, what sound would you make? Give me a little wolf-like sound.
Oh man.
Do
Can you even hear that?
No.
Dang it. Let's go. Something like
do
that.
it into the you got to do it into the microphone.
I'm trying. I'm like right next to it.
No, the second time you weren't. Just so everybody knows, Andrew did that little noise. He went, "Arr!" But then like he put his head like up away from the microphone to do it.
That's what a werewolf would do.
Yes, but
I'll go. Oh,
there you go. Perfect. Oh, I love it. I love it. Wolfman.
Well, we're pretty tough people.
Is that so? To me, you don't seem so tough. That's a good thing. Means you got a good life. You're healthy, safe.
Buddy, that was thank you. That was so much fun. I love talking with you. This is like seriously one of my favorite moments of all time. I just love visiting with you about movies. It just makes me happy.
Yay.
Yeah. Yay. But that was a fun one and subtle. So I'm very curious what our next movie is going to be. Is it going to be subtle, wild? I'm not sure. What are you picking for our next movie, buddy?
Well, buddy, this movie involved a little bit of body horror. Wolfman did, right?
Yes, it did.
So let's ramp that up a little bit. We've been skirting around this movie for a little while now. Are we going to pick it? Are we going to pick something else? And we picked other things, but it's finally time. And especially since the Oscars just happened 2 days ago, it is time for us to watch The Substance and talk about it.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
And here we go. Oh man,
that was the Joker, everybody. Heath Ledger, the Joker.
Oh, man. What a great performance.
As of this recording right now, The Substance is only available to rent or purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's available to purchase. It says rental.
Yeah.
You can buy it. You can buy it too. But yeah, you can rent or purchase it. I'm sure it'll be streaming very soon, especially with the Oscars just happening.
Yeah.
So there you go. The Substance, starring Demi Moore.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. It's a fun one.
Buddy.
Yes.
You are literally the best creation on God's earth.
Whoa. Wow. Oh, man. Thanks. Wow. That's high praise, buddy.
Also, before we go, I just want everybody to know that in the spirit of what the movie we just talked about, Andrew moved his laptop around before we started recording, and I got to see some of where he lives. And he has trees out in his backyard that are very much like the trees in this movie, and it was very cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really pretty out there, I'll say that. But like
Does it ever get creepy?
No, not really.
No?
It's not. It's because there's houses all around, but it's scary when a branch falls and it sounds like a bomb went off.
Oh no!
That's scary. They're called widowmakers for a reason. So.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Widow. Oh wow.
Yeah. So when it's windy, we don't go outside.
Why? What? That's pretty sexist, though. Why can't they be called widower makers? They only kill men.
You know what? You're right. I'm never going to call it that again. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Human makers. Wait, no.
Yeah. No, death makers?
Yeah. Yeah. Genderless human killing makers. Deathers.
Man, I think we just came up with a new title for another movie.
The Deathly Branches. There it is.
The Deathly Branches.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening to Fun with Horror. We love you all.
We love all of you.
All of you.
All of you.
Thank you for listening. What was that?
I don't know.
Sorry. Okay. Whatever. Deathly Branches. We love all of you. Andrew.
Yes.
I love you.
Scotty, I love you.
It was wonderful talking to you today. I can't wait to talk to you about The Substance.
Yeah, me too.
And with that, I bid you awoo.
Oh.
That was a wolf.
That was perfect.
So what's my job?
To keep your daughter safe.
Yeah, that's right. And what's your job?
To read minds.
Can you guess what I'm thinking right now?
I love my little girl.
That's amazing. That's exactly what I was thinking. How do you do that every time? You're so good at your job.